Jack-o'-lanterns, they're an essential part of Halloween decor, but you need to be careful because pumpkin carving, it can be dangerous. You know, Halloween, it's among the top holiday for producing the most ER visits for kids. So today we're joined by Consumer Reports senior editor Dan DeClerico, and he has tips. Dan, thanks for being here. Now, while we want everybody to get in on the fun of pumpkin carving, Consumer Reports, they advise against letting kids of a certain age get in on the carving.
Listen, pumpkins are slippery, knives are sharp, so we take a pretty conservative line here. We say, 14 years of age, that's when the kids can get started. Obviously, use your best judgment. If your child's younger but has a lot of experience in the kitchen with, sharp tools, they can get started. But regardless of the age, we do really recommend you use a pumpkin carving kit instead of the sharp kitchen serrated knife that we all grew up using.
There's also some things to keep in mind when carving, where to carve, preparing your pumpkin, and what tools to use. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, it's really important to get organized. So that starts by finding a clean, well-lit area in the home. And you want to be on a very stable surface. You don't want the table tipping over when these sharp tools are being used. The other thing that's a little counterintuitive is you should really start by designing and carving the face of the jack-o'-lantern first. Instead of taking off the top and scooping out the insides, again, I think the way most of us grew up doing. The problem with taking the top off first is it really increases the likelihood of your hand being inside the pumpkin while you're carving the face and accidentally slicing your finger.
Dan, if there's an injury, what do we need to know?
So yeah, Halloween is actually one of the most dangerous times of the year in terms of ER visits for children. We see, thousands of visits a year, and many of them are lacerations to hands, which of course have a lot of tendons and nerves. And so, it's really important to, first of all, have a first aid kit handy. And then if an accident does happen, apply pressure right away with a clean cloth. And if the bleeding doesn't stop after 15 minutes, that's when you need to head to the emergency room.
Dan, lastly, fire. It's another potential hazard. What I want to know is how everybody at home can minimize the risks.
Yeah, so we do see about 15,000 candle fires per year, and Halloween is actually one of the most dangerous days of the year for those fires, which is why we do really recommend using a battery-powered glow stick instead of a candle. The effect will be the same, but it is a much safer option. If you're old school, if you're a purist and you want to use that candle, that's okay, but do make sure the pumpkin is on a very stable surface, a good distance from any trick-or-treaters or anyone else who might come into contact and accidentally knock over that candle.
Dan, thanks so much for joining us, and if you want more information on how to carve your pumpkin safely, just go to mymassappeal.com.